Howdy, I'm Chris Capell, and today we're in the Dizzy Pig test kitchen to give you a taste of our new exciting seasonings. I've spent countless hours mixing and mastering these new blends to really enhance the flavor of your own cooking. Today, we'll be working with one of our new blends, Bombay Curryish. So let's get started. Our new Ish series fusion blends, it was very interesting how we came up with the name. I wanted to create some spices without sugar that could be used for searing and blackening, high temperature grilling, something that's not going to get bitter. And we wanted to take flavors from all over the world and you kind of give our fusion interpretation of them. The Bombay Curryish that we'll be using today was inspired by Indian curries, by Indian spices. It's my own take on what Indian flavor should be. So today, we're going to be cooking a variety of Indian-ish dishes. We'll be doing a pot of chicken curry, a curry-ish chicken curry. We're going to do some lamb skewers, some ground lamb skewers and grilled shrimp with the seasoning. And then we're going to do naan bread, homemade naan bread to wrap it all out. I'll get started with the bread, with the naan bread here. Basically, it's a simple bread recipe that uses other ingredients for the wet ingredients. We're going to start off with flour, the salt, and actually naan bread is a fairly salty bread, so it might have a little more salt than you're used to. Some baking soda. We're gonna sift that out into the bowl. And meanwhile, we're going to take our yeast and our sugar. I'm going to add it to some warm water to proof the yeast. I'm going to stir that up a little bit. I'm going to let that sit, and usually a few minutes will do it. 5 or 6 minutes, you should start to see some foam on the top. That just means the yeast is active. Once that's all set up, we're going to mix it all in. So we'll do that now. We have yogurt, a plain yogurt. The Greek yogurt is excellent. We have ghee, which is a clarified butter. You could also use oil. And then the yeast and water. And you'll knead this all together. And after you're done kneading, put it in an oiled bowl and put it in the oven. I've got one over here right now. This is our dough that's been rising for about 2 hours. And what we're going to do is we're going to lay it out on the counter. Ready? We're going to sprinkle some flour on the counter. I'm going to turn the dough, which should have about doubled since you started, onto the counter. We're going to divide it up into 8 equal portions. I don't weigh it. Just kind of eyeball it. And then what we're going to do after we do this is we're going to put them on an oiled cookie sheet, just little balls, and let them rise again for another 45 minutes to an hour. And we'll be ready to make our naan bread. And actually, we're going to do that on a grill. You can do it in a cast iron pan if you like, but actually, we're going to be cooking it on a pizza stone on the grill. Give it a nice, light, smoky flavor. As you just kind of lay a towel over top of it so they don't dry out. You can do it in an 80-degree oven, which is what I prefer. Or you can leave it on the counter. It just takes a little longer. While that naan bread's in the oven rising, we're going to go ahead and put together our yogurt sauce. There's a lot of different ways to do yogurt sauce. It's used a lot with Indian food. In this particular one, we're going to use a plain yogurt. The Greek yogurt, once again, is a nice tangy flavor. We're going to use chopped Italian parsley. chopped mint, lemon zest, cucumbers that are ran through a grater and squeezed dry, pepper, salt, a couple pinches of salt, and then finally some of our Bombay Curryish seasoning, probably about a teaspoon. Get that all stirred up. A lot of times after I taste this, I like to put a little bit of lemon juice in, all depending if I got the right tang, if the yogurt has the right tang, if the zest has the right tang. That tastes good, just like it is. Okay. Now what we're going to do with this is it'll set up as you chill it. It's a lot better chilled. So I'm going to put this in the fridge. We've actually got one in here that we did earlier that's nice and chilled. You can see it's got a great texture and body and thickness. So we're going to be serving that up. We're going to move on to our lamb. We're going to be using ground lamb. And we're actually going to be making some skewers with this, which are awesome. I couldn't believe. A friend of mine, Brett Brown, cooked some for us a few weeks ago. They were out of this world. I made a few changes to it. Okay, I'm adding some minced onion, just regular yellow onion. I've got chopped Italian parsley. I've got chopped mint, which is all good stuff with Indian food. I've got several cloves of roasted garlic. Don't be shy here. It's all roasted. It's pretty mellow and nutty at this point. And then we're just going to blend that all together. Mix that all together. We're going to add in some of our Bombay curry seasoning and a little salt and pepper after we get it mixed up. That's really all the seasoning that's going to go on here. A little salt. And then we got the Bombay curry. Now I'm going to put this on the outside after we put it on a skewer, so I'm not putting a whole lot in. We've already got a little salt in there. That onion and garlic and all those herbs are going to give it a great flavor. Okay, now I'm going to go over here. I started my skewers soaking in water a couple hours ago. That's just going to help them so they don't char and catch on fire. Got them right here. It's a little messy, but you basically are just taking your lamb mixture and forming it onto the skewer. Not a whole lot. It's more like an appetizer or a side dish thing, so you don't need a ton of it. Take a wad around the skewer and just flatten it onto the skewer like so. And that is it. We'll shake some rub on it before we put them on the grill, and they'll cook up just like that. While we're waiting for the naan bread to go on a second rise, we're going to go ahead and put together the shrimp that we're going to grill alongside the lamb. I think it's going to go great with this dish. So what I've done is I've put some olive oil on the shrimp, and now I'm shaking some of our Bombay Curryish on here, which is the main theme of the day. And what I'm doing is I'm using a double skewer system because that helps that your shrimp isn't spinning around on you when you're trying to flip it over. So what happens is it just holds them all nice and tight. So I'm going to thread a few of these up, and then we're going to hop on to seasoning the chicken and getting our curry started. And we'll finish these up here in a moment. Move on to the chicken. Okay, so we have our chicken curry here. It's a kind of my version of a Bombay curry. It's a basic curry with chicken, potatoes, a lot of onion, and a lot of the seasoning. And it's just going to be a real rich broth that's just great with the naan bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this pretty good with the seasoning, because what we're going to do is we're going to brown this hard in the pan. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to get the stove going over here and get the cast iron nice and hot. and put some oil in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and then season up my chicken. And don't be shy with it because it's a robust spice, but I want to be browning it hard in the pan. And that's the interesting thing about our seasoning is that when you brown them, it becomes really nutty, and it's a whole different flavor than the kind of sharp, like fragrant flavor that you get when it's raw. So anyway, I'm not afraid here to season these up real good because I'm going to be browning them real hard in the pan, and it's just going to get a great nutty flavor, and that's going to be the whole base for the curry. And so part of the secret of this dish is to actually brown your chicken and not just gray it. Actually, by graying, I mean, sometimes people just cook it until it's all firm, but there's no browning, and browning is where your flavor is going to come in. So if you're going to be browning your meat hard, don't be afraid to put a little more seasoning on. So I'm just going to go right into the pan. Well, I'm going to let it get a little hotter, I think, first. It's just coming up over here. But because the pan is going to be so hot that the spices are going to get brown, they're going to get nutty, and just the whole kitchen is going to fill up with this smell. We got the pan nice and hot now. Almost to the point of smoking. This is about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs that are cut into chunks and then seasoned with the Bombay Curryish. If you brown this all at once, you're not going to get enough browning and flavor on there. So I'm going to do 2 batches. I'm going to cut this thing in half. We'll start off with about 1 pound. So you want that hot, sizzle in there. If you don't have a hot stove, just leave this cast iron on there for a while. And if you don't have a cast iron, you can use any, a skillet with a heavy bottom on it. You don't want a non-stick, like a Teflon skillet, because you want that flavor to be on the pan. So I'll spread that out in the pan as much as I can to get as much surface area hitting the pan, and I'll let that stuff brown up. I won't touch it until I start smelling a real toasty browning flavor, and I know that stuff is browning up real good. Let that go for a little while. You see it browning up real nice? Hear that stuff going? That's good. Good stuff. You can use a chicken breast as well, but man, you're going to overcook it. So just use dark meat. Okay, I want to spoon this. This is my second batch. Spoon that out with your slotted spoon. Get that over on the side. We're going to be adding this back in a little later in the cook. We don't want to cook this chicken too much more after it's brown, so we're going to add it back to the pot a little bit later. Right now we're going to put our onions, and I got 2 whole sweet onions. It looks like a lot of onion, and it is, but it makes it good. Put that in your pan. That's going to help you get all the brown bits off the pan and all that flavor that's in there. I like to hit it with some salt because the salt will pull a little moisture out of the onions and help you deglaze that pan. I keep them stirring for a little while. Kind of get all that stuff off the pan, and then once it is, I'll just kind of let them saute for about 5 minutes. Turn the heat down just a little bit. Let that go. Okay, so once the onions get kind of translucent and you're getting that good caramelized onion smell, it's time to put the garlic in. I got about 2 cloves or 3 cloves of crushed garlic I'm going to put in there. And then I'm going to hit it with some more of the Bombay Curryish, because all the stuff we have on the chicken is real nutty now, and this is going to give it a new layer. But that's not going to be browned quite as much. So it's kind of a way to build up your layers of flavor. So I'll just shake a good amount of that on. Incorporate that in with the garlic. Now you don't want to cook the garlic too long, because you can actually burn that. Put it in with them hot onions and start melting the flavor out for maybe 15-20 seconds. And I'm going to go right to the potatoes. We're going to add the potatoes in and start cooking them. Now, the potatoes are great in curry, and it's also a great way to get it thick. I'm going to add them potatoes in. Good, you're still getting a good hot pan here. And these will cook, I'd like to cook the potatoes for 4 or 5 minutes. And then what I'm going to do is add a little bit of flour that's going to help to actually make the gravy that we're going to have later. Never hurts to hit it with some more seasoning now that potatoes are in. And we'll actually have a recipe up. I'll give you the measurements and everything so it tastes the same every time. So that'll go. Okay, these potatoes are getting a little brown on the bottom, just about right. I'm going to put the flour in. Kind of spread it out so it doesn't clump up. Stir it all in there. And then chicken broth. That's going to make it gravy. I'm not going to put all of it. I'm going to leave a little bit for the end. I always want to kind of balance it for the thickness that you want. But I'm going to let this come back up to a boil, a simmer, and that's going to cook 45 minutes or so until the potatoes are almost tender, and we'll be adding the chicken in and the yogurt. Oh, one more thing I need to put in here is a tomato paste, a small can of tomato paste, and that's going to give it some nice color. It's also going to help to thicken it. And it's as simple as that. Now you got all the browning flavors are in there. Now it's just a matter of letting it all come together. I like to leave it uncovered. It's already coming to the simmer. That's how hot that pan was. So just get a low bubbling simmer. You don't want it boiling real hard. Just a nice little low simmer and let that stuff go. Okay, this curry has been simmering for about a half hour or 45 minutes, and these potatoes are getting tender. So it's time to add the chicken. I'm going to take all my chicken that we browned earlier and just dump it all in there. Get all that nice juice out of the bowl. Okay, I'm going to stir that in. And then the magic is in the yogurt at the end. I got about a cup of yogurt left in here. It's going to go right in. That's going to give it a nice creaminess and a little bit of tang as well, which is good. Okay, we get all that all incorporated, and we're just going to lower the heat and put the cover on. Just hold it until dinner. At this point, it's just about done. So go over here, we've got the naan bread. It's about ready to go. It's all rizzed up. It ain't exactly pretty, but you never see naan bread being real regular anyway. So that's my excuse for going with it. So basically, we're going to take these things out and roll them out. You don't want to roll it a whole lot. You just want to get it about 8 inches long or so. Stretched out a little bit, and that's all you need right there. And so what we're going to do, we're going to put some spices in it. I'm going to put a little bit of the Bombay Curryish on there, right there. because that's the theme of the day. And you can roll it right in. That'll help it stick in there. We're going to put it on our cookie sheet, and we're going to brush it with water, because the wet side is going to go down on the pizza stone. And that's it for the naan bread. We're going to roll the rest of these out, and then we'll meet you outside. Okay, I've already brushed them with water inside, so I brushed one with water, so I'm hitting the rest of them. See how this goes. Got a hot pizza stone. It's about 500 degrees right now. Let's see how this goes. In India, they use a tandoori oven. We don't have that. Let's see what happens. And over here, I'm going to get the lamb on, but I'm going to hit it with some seasoning first. Got a pretty hot fire in here too, probably about 450, but you want it over direct flames. You want it to get some charring without cooking too long. I'm going to stick these last two on. Looks like I got some space there. And the shrimp is basically the same thing. Put it over a hot fire and let it go. That's it. A few minutes aside. Well, I say these guys are done. I got one more little batch to do, and then we'll see you inside. You all ready to chow? We'd like to thank you for stopping by and checking out how we flavor our meals with Dizzy Pig seasonings. If you like what you saw and you'd like to get some of your own, log on to dizzypigbbq.com or check us out on Twitter and Facebook. And finally, from all of us here at Dizzy Pig, enjoy the flavors and happy cooking.
Dizzy Pig seasonings. Oh my God, what can I say? Chris has such a palate. I mean, his assortment of different seasonings is just amazing. I mean, my wife uses it every day. It's just, I can't describe it. It's just for everything we want, fish, meat, pork, whatever it is, he's got a seasoning for it. So I never get tired of it, so she keeps cooking it.
I like the seasonings because they're all different. You can taste one and pick it from another. They're so distinctive. And I obviously like it enough because every time I cook something, I've got Dizzy Pig seasonings on it. You know, what can I say? I love it.